There are 5 stable quarterbacks in the NFL that I would replace the minute I could. They're not bad quarterbacks, but they're not elite. They're never going to be elite. And if I was an NFL general manager, I would not replace them immediately, but I would always be actively looking for a solution and looking for a way to get rid of this guy we have and get a new young quarterback to build around. The number 1 quarterback on this list I want to talk about is Andy Dalton, the Bengals quarterback. He's hit his ceiling. It's not enough. He's not good enough. He's not great in big moments. And what Andy Dalton does that drives me nuts, he makes far too many boneheaded, questionable decisions that I'm just like, what in the world are you doing? He has bad games. He's not dependable. I don't trust Andy Dalton. I would replace him when I could. He also plays in a northern division, has a weaker arm. Nah, I'm good. I would move on from him. Another quarterback that is stable, but I would replace as soon as I could is Ryan Tannehill, the Dolphins quarterback. I keep waiting for this guy to deliver, and he doesn't. It's just not happening. He's got an average arm. He makes marginal decisions. He's very average at reading defenses. He's mediocre, and I would replace Ryan Tannehill as soon as I could. Blake Bortles is a guy with the Jaguars quarterback that I gave up on Blake Bortles. I would move on from him as soon as possible. He struggles throwing the football. It's weird. I've never seen a guy struggle more with confidence, struggle more with throwing simple completions. I mean, you watch every year, he messes with mechanics, and he's always like, he drops the ball really far low, and he just has he does not look like a guy who's confident throwing the ball. It's like, why would you play quarterback? You can't even throw. What the heck, man? Oh, and by the way, he struggles at reading defenses. He's got like a blind spot for linebackers over the middle. I'm done with Blake Bortles. I would move on as soon as I could. I love Case Keenum, the person, but Case Keenum is not a good enough quarterback to live up to the standard of the Broncos. If the Broncos want to win playoff games, they got to move on from Case Keenum. I like him. He's an awesome guy. He's just far too limited. I remember watching the Chiefs and Broncos game on Monday Night Football 2 weeks ago, and he just couldn't deliver at the end of the game when you needed him to against a bad Chiefs defense. And that's Case Keenum in a nutshell. He's fine. He's serviceable, but he's not enough if you want to win Super Bowls, and so I would move on from Case Keenum. The 5th quarterback on this list is Dak Prescott. He's not accurate. I mean, he says all the right things. He looks good. He's got great in interviews, but he struggles at reading defenses. He's not accurate enough. And I'm growing impatient. I know that Dak Prescott doesn't have a lot of help in Dallas, but I don't care. I would move on. I say, you're not enough. I want a good quarterback. I want a guy who could potentially dominate the NFL. And if you don't have a guy who could potentially be Aaron Rodgers or, Drew Brees or Tom Brady, what are you doing? You're wasting. Like, you need one of those guys to win. And if you don't have one of those guys and you don't have a guy who can eventually become one of those guys, you're just wasting everybody's time. I'd move on. I want one of those quarterbacks. So these 5 quarterbacks are guys that are not elite. They're never going to be elite. They're incredibly limited. They have limited ceilings. So if your team has one of those 5 quarterbacks, if you're the Bengals, the Dolphins, the Jaguars, the Broncos, or the Cowboys, you're rooting for your team to eventually move on and get a different quarterback. That's what I would do. They're not awful quarterbacks by any means. They're just not good enough to ever dominate the NFL. And again, I want a guy who's at Aaron Rodgers' level, is at Drew Brees' level, Tom Brady's level. Those guys don't ever have that in them, and so I would move on. I'd get over them. Now, there are 3 quarterbacks that are not on this list that I did consider. The number 1 quarterback not on this list, of course, is Eli Manning because he's not stable. This is a list of stable quarterbacks that are fine. He's not stable. He's not enough. He's not a guy. Eli Manning, I think it's too obvious, needs to be replaced. I've said over and over again, I want to beat you guys, to death with that one. Another quarterback I did consider putting on this list is Marcus Mariota, the Titans quarterback. The reason why he's not on this list is because he's too young. I think it's just still too early to know. He's not exciting. I don't like what I've seen from Marcus Mariota, but he is still improving. He's only 24. I give him another year or two before I just completely pull the plug on him. Now, Alex Smith is a quarterback I thought long and hard about. In fact, I started writing this list, and I had to scratch his name off. I said, you know what? I don't think Alex Smith should be on this list because, this is a guy. Alex Smith is a guy who's won playoff games. He's got the best arm of all the quarterbacks I've named on this list. Alex Smith has the best arm. He's got elite level arm strength. He can throw the ball great downfield. He's highly accurate. Now, all that being said, he is incredibly safe, and it's frustrating to watch Alex Smith because you're like, dude, let it rip. Use your God-given talents, and please throw the ball a million miles deep. I don't know what you're doing. You're checking down. You're not taking risks downfield. It's frustrating to watch, but I still would not replace Alex Smith because he might be limited. He might be safe, but I don't know that limited is the right word. Alex Smith might be a safe quarterback, but he's not a limited quarterback. He's 34 years old. I think 34. I don't know that for sure, but he's still got good years of football left. And in fact, I think that Alex Smith could still have his best years ahead of him. Quarterbacks have changed. We've seen, Tom Brady's 41, Drew Brees is older. Quarterbacks can play for longer than ever now. So I think that Alex Smith not only has good years of football left, I think Alex Smith might actually have his best years of football ahead. I would not replace Alex Smith if I was the Washington Redskins. Despite his issues, I do think he's improving. I think he still has good football ahead of him. He's not limited the same way Dak Prescott, Andy Dalton, Blake Bortles. Who are the other guys I listed? Ryan Tannehill and Case Keenum. Those 5 guys. Again, Andy Dalton, Ryan Tannehill, Blake Bortles, Case Keenum, and Dak Prescott. They're not elite, and they don't have the potential to become elite. And so therefore, I think, what are you doing? You're wasting your time if you have a quarterback that can eventually become the next Aaron Rodgers, the next Tom Brady, the next Drew Brees. You're wasting everybody's time, and it's not worth it. So I would move on from those 5 quarterbacks. Hi, my name is Zach Schaumler. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. It means a ton to me. This is my podcast, Strong Opinion Sports. It's my favorite thing in the entire world. And if you're new to Strong Opinion Sports, you can subscribe to Strong Opinion Sports on iTunes, on SoundCloud, and on YouTube. You can find the full entire hour-long podcast on YouTube, as well as shorter little breakout clips like the one you just watched. And if you really want to help me, please tell your friends about Strong Opinion Sports. Help me grow by telling your friends about this show. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. Help me grow by telling your friends about Strong Opinion Sports. My name is Zach Schaumler. Thank you so much, and have a great day.